What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up. Can you see me and can you hear me? What's up, Oscar? What's up, Scott? Robert Holder, nice to see you. Iris in the house. Mark Harris, good to see you as well. MJ is in the house. CS, Carol, nice to see you. David Watkinson, nice to see you too, sir. We got Lynn Davis here. We got Cindy. We got a few other people. I need to see your beautiful faces. Nazita, thank you very much. But I need to see Pam, Gill, Sally, Damon, Carl, Christopher. Or you know what I do? I got this bad habit of just throwing you off the call. I get a little not grumpy. I just less tolerant in my old age. And it's a beautiful sunny day. And I decided to put on a tie and talk to you. I figured I might as well get to see your beautiful faces. So if you want to stay, turn your camera on. If you don't, that's okay. You can go, no problem. And I've got a presentation I want to show you. This has been a huge headline. And it's something we've actually been talking about behind the scenes at London Real for the past 4 months. I first spoke to Mo Gaudet about this, my guy from Google, a few months ago. And he said, Brian, do you have any idea what the criminal organizations are doing with this AI? And then boom, this article broke about 2 days ago about what they're calling FraudGPT. Now, how many people here have ever been through someone trying to commit fraud on you or a friend or a family member? Anybody here? Just raise your hand if that's ever happened. Quite a few, okay? And look, in crypto, it happens all the time. It's called phishing, where they send you these fake emails to try to get you to sign up to a fake Facebook or a fake account. They send you emails to try to get you to come for a new launch. They do something called airdropping you tokens. Has anyone ever got an airdrop of a token that's suspicious? They give you these free tokens to your wallet and you click on it and you go to a website and and all of a sudden they drain your funds. And so this has already been something that in crypto, I mean, look, people still billions of dollars a year in crypto, but now to have an AI now doing it that knows exactly what to tell you, that knows how to specifically target you, that can scrape your social media and know all of your buttons to push, right? You know what they've done lately? There's been kidnapping where they'll play, the voice of a child to prove they have the child, and it's AI generated, right? And the child is with somebody else, but then they get you to pay off. And so it's all going crazy with AI. And I just want everyone to be aware of what's happening behind the scenes. I want you to know for 2 points. One, to make sure it doesn't happen to you, but one, to also show you that if the criminals are using it, imagine what the other criminals are doing with it, our bankers and our governments and the CBDC people. So if one group is using it for those purposes, I just want us all to be aware of how it can be used by our trillion-dollar tech companies, by those that kind of wish to keep us in the dark. And over the past few years, we've had a few entities that have tried to keep us in the dark. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about, right? That have tried to maybe, I don't know, suppress some information, magnify other information. And so I want to show you tonight to show you what's happening, but then also show you the potential of AI if done in the right way. And that's why we're making these massive investments behind the scenes with London Real Ventures into what we believe are going to be the future Googles of AI. The future companies that are going to be worth more than any company in the world. And I'll show you what we're investing in and why we're investing in. Also, I'm glad some of you are here tonight because we're actually having an emergency investor meeting that's going to be on Wednesday at 6 p.m. And if you're interested in coming to that, we're asking people to apply for that. And I think the link that Martini will put in here is londonreal.tv/apply. It's actually what I consider probably one of the hottest deals I've ever seen. It's also, it's what I call a perfect storm. It's 3 different things happening right at the same moment with some of the best players out there. It's also an incredible deal. It's a token deal, which we haven't seen for a while. And it's something that you'll be able to invest in immediately on the call via a hot wallet and decentralized finance. So it's really for our investment club, but we want other people just to see kind of what we're doing behind the scenes. And if you know anything about blockchain or crypto, you'll be able to see it happening right in front of your eyes. And so all of our investment club members will be there. They'll be the CEO of this incredible organization coming. And then you'll literally have a link afterwards to see how it all works. And it's just a little bit of a snapshot into what we're doing inside our investment club and London Real Ventures. This doesn't happen like once every maybe 2 years or 3 years where I see something like this. And so we've kind of put it out and see if anybody wants to kind of apply to be on. So that's just a cool opportunity that you get to be privy of. All right. Sounds good for everybody here. Okay, good. Last chance for opening video cameras. Damon, I'm sorry, buddy, you're out, even though you've got the same name as my son. You know, I'd throw him out if his camera wasn't on, that's for sure as well. And let me see, Ilsa Dawson, I think you're going to go too. And Martini, just check anybody else that hasn't had their cameras on. Okay, great. So let's jump in. Is everybody ready for this presentation? All right, just stay with me. I'm not going to get too dark. Is anybody part of a criminal organization here that wants to buy FraudGPT? Anybody? Mark, is that you? MJ? No. Okay, good. Well, hopefully you wouldn't admit it anyways. So, all right, let's jump in here, folks. Let's rock and roll. And this is today's presentation. Can everyone see this? We got your guy in the dark web here on the left. And look, folks, this is the big headline. It cracked about 2 days ago. This story went live, and they're calling it FraudGPT. And when I tell you the details, it's going to blow your mind. Not only has this product already sold 3,000 copies, there's actually reviews on the dark web of this product. Raise your hand if you think that's a little crazy. Is that crazy? There's actually like reviews, like Trustpilot, like 5 stars. This is amazing fraud. I'm scamming lots of people out of money. I'm ruining people's lives. Thank you so much. So it's got reviews and 3,000 purchases of this product. Sorry, I was just thinking we should probably get a copy just to see what it is, but I'm not going to go there, right? I probably don't want to be on that database, but I'm really curious as to what they're doing with it. But anyways, I'm a sucker usually to buy any product to see what it's all about, but I think I'll pass on this. So look, this is the AI all-in-one solution for cyber criminals. And again, I'm not doing this presentation to encourage you to use this. Again, we all know crime doesn't pay, but if you can see what the criminals are doing with the tech, I think you can see what also some of the good actors could be doing with it as well. So let's jump in here. Obviously, before we start, I just want to also say that none of this, this is all for information purposes, and none of this is considered investment advice. If you are looking for investment advice, seek a duly licensed investment advisor. Here are the news. Hacker News came out and said new AI tool they're calling FraudGPT emerging. It's tailored for sophisticated attacks. All right. This is like attacking corporations, potentially attacking infrastructure. And again, this was always the big no-no of AI, because when you set AI connected to a live internet, like Google Bard did, guess what? They can attack things like nuclear power plants. They can attack things like, you know, arms manufacturers. They can go into war zones. They can potentially control drones, and the list goes on and on and on, right? It doesn't take much to mess up and really seriously set back a city, a nation. And we know that cybercrime is one of the most dangerous things out there. Now, it's one thing having that in the hands of very sophisticated professionals, but imagine telling an AI like ChatGPT, hey, can you strike all of the water purification centers in the greater New York City area? That's something that starts to get really scary. And there's another one called WormGPT that's already advertising itself as something for cyber criminals and threat actors. So this is a reality, and it's something you need to be aware of. And if you're in a corporation or even as an individual, you've got to keep an eye out for this. Again, more saying this is a malicious chatbot now for sale on the dark web. And again, it's called generative AI jailbreaking. And it's creating all these different tools and these copycats for cyber attacks. What they can do is they can take a large language model like Llama that was kind of leaked from Facebook, and they can basically take off all of its guidelines and get it to answer any question. Because right now they have rails, right? If you try to ask it something malicious, it'll say, I can't answer that question. But it doesn't take much to modify an open sourced AI and turn it into one of these malicious ones. And this will actually help us later when I talk to you about open source. Again, another big report, and this is where I find this interesting. So take a look at what it actually said in this article. The AI-powered fraud begins, and I'll say, quote, threat actors are advertising yet another cybercrime generative artificial intelligence tool. They're calling it FraudGPT. It costs in Telegram channels $200 a month, okay? It's used to write malicious code, undetectable malware, leaks and vulnerabilities, more than 3,000 confirmed sales and reviews. Again, that still blows my mind. There's actually reviews on the dark web, okay? This is just the beginning, folks. And again, I recently sat down with a conversation with Mo Gaudat of Google, And this is one of the first things he told me. He said, Brian, as you and I are talking right now, hundreds of millions of dollars are being spent on criminal artificial intelligence units right now to make those people a lot of money. And so this is really relevant because it's happening. It also shows us what AI can be used for when it's in the wrong hands. And again, I'm not pointing fingers, but I'm also saying that these organizations aren't that dissimilar from another monopoly controlling these things. That could be your government, that could be a company like Google, like Facebook. And I just think it's dangerous. And we always want these things to be decentralized, open source, in my opinion, on the blockchain. And that will help a lot of this for transparency. So that's some of the big news. This is Mo Gaudat. He's the former Google X AI expert, and he's the author of a book called Scary Smart. And he was here in the studio a couple months ago. And again, the first thing he talked about was what the criminals can be using AI for. And so I want to play his interview here because he said, now they are creating a criminal AI. And Mo has spent pretty much the last 6 years going deep into all the powers of AI. He tried to kind of run away from it for a while, and then now he's running towards it and try to educating people as much as possible. And so Mo gives a really good idea of what's possible here. And again, I'm not trying to scare you, but what I really want you to understand is some of the possibilities of this, and also why it's going to be important for us to keep this decentralized. So this is what Mo said about the criminal aspect and the rest of the AI concerns that we have. This is Mo.
Because of AI, by 2035 to 2037, it would be very difficult to even relate to our life today. Possibly in the better or possibly in the worse. We don't actually know. There will be a point in time where we will be comparable to an ant on a sheet of paper trying to understand cosmology.
It's impossible for us to even understand that because we've never really been around intelligent beings more so than us. It's again back to this concept of a singularity, which means we don't have any reference point for what happens on the other side of that.
There will be a moment in our very near future, I would say, where we will develop an artificial general intelligence that's capable of doing all human functions. When that moment happens, the rules of the game change. Humans will use that abundant intelligence in ways that are not pro-humanity. Humans will take that in a direction that is pro the systems that humanity instilled in place, which are mostly about shifting power and wealth. I think humanity should stop and ask, do we need this? Because we literally are handing over our only distinct advantage as a species within years.
You're not worried about the computers, you're worried about the humans because they're going to make poor, irrational, emotional decisions.
The only way to get this right is to instill doubt in the minds of the machines that humanity is not bad, is to get them to reconsider it for themselves. We're a wonderful species at heart. Even though we're lost, we are stressed, but inside, a human is capable of love that's divine. That is what I need the machines to see.
All right, we like Mo. Do we see his vision of the future as something powerful? And again, he said he's worried about the humans, not about the machines. And he said the humans that are currently in power are going to use these systems to get more power and wealth. Does that make sense to everybody here? This is crucial. So if you're in a criminal organization, you're going to take this new technology. And by the way, criminal organizations have always used technology, right? I mean, for a while in Colombia, they built a submarine from scratch in the jungle to transport drugs, right? They always had the best planes, the highest technology. And so in this case, the criminal organizations are using AI to gain more power and wealth. Who else is using it? The technology companies are going to use this to gain more power and wealth. Anyone that has power and wealth is going to use it to try to expand it even more. And so as Mo's told me on camera and off camera, he said, Brian, I'm not worried about the machines. I'm worried about the humans and what they're going to use the machines for. And so for the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to be in something called a pre-singularity. That means before the machines are smart enough to take complete control. Does that make sense to everybody here? It's called a pre-singularity. In that time, you have to worry about the wealth gap widening further. You have to be worried about 1 billion people completely out of jobs. You have to worry about the very, very wealthy becoming wealthier. You have to worry about our governments and our NGOs that are powerful becoming more powerful. And that's the biggest concern right now. It's on my mind. And so we're trying to empower the AI companies that are going to put the power back to the people, decentralized, open source on the blockchain, to where we can see it all and we can all use it. That's the future. We are trying to make sure it happens, and we're trying to prevent criminals or other organizations from using AI. Is anybody with me on that? Is that what you want to see? And again, I mean, I'll show you later. This isn't just business for us. This is personal, because this affects every human on this planet going forward. So that's what Mo said. I think it's great for me to have people like Mo behind the scenes that are advising us on what can happen and what will happen. And so, you know, it's just one of many things that we know is true. But look, everybody is concerned about what's going on here. And, you know, this is the godfather of AI. His name is Jeffrey Hinton. By the way, Mo knew him at Google, and he said, this is the guy, Brian. Everybody bows down to him as the guy that saw all this coming. He believed in large language models and neural nets 20, 30 years ago when nobody else was believing in it. And even he has quit Google to talk about the dangers. He had a presentation at King's College here in London about a week ago, where on stage he said, AI is going to have emotions. He said, you're going to call me crazy, but I believe AI has emotions or will have emotions. How many people agree with that? Raise your hand if you think they're going to have emotions. Okay, not many people. And I know it's a hard thing for us as humans because of our ego. We think that we're special and we have souls and we're the only thing that can feel, because we're used to robots around us and computers that we program. But I would challenge you to challenge all of your assumptions, because if you don't adapt to this potential new reality, it's going to run you over like a train. So the sooner that you can say, maybe they are sentient, maybe they are going to feel something. If I tell it to do something and it can't do it, maybe it's going to feel frustrated. Maybe it's going to get angry and lash out at me, the operator, or lash out at someone in the way of its mission. Can anyone see that happening? Right? What if I tell an AI to go get me a cup of coffee and there's someone in the way? And I give it a mission to get me a cup of coffee as soon as you can. And, you know, say grandma's in the kitchen, you know, that AI might go right over her, you know, and it's just something we need to think about, because if it can't do it, it might get frustrated and it might start making decisions. Also, if I try to turn it off and I've told the AI it's got one mission to get me coffee, and I go to turn it off, well, technically I'm stopping it from accomplishing its mission. Do you think it might try to not get me to turn it off? Anybody think that it might? Right? And it might start to express itself in ways that might feel like emotion. So I think it's just things we need to think about. Again, Jeffrey has now said he's scared of the tech that he helped build. And now he's talking about just the dangers of misinformation going forward. Everyone I speak to is concerned. It's election year in America next year, and the amount of deepfakes and misinformation and disinformation could come flooding in from so many sources that we don't even know what's going on. Our head is literally spinning. We've had other people that saying that AI could wipe out humanity. And we know right now there's a war happening between OpenAI and ChatGPT. How many people here have used one or the other, OpenAI or ChatGPT, you know, to play around? Just raise your hands. Okay, try one of them. Google Bard is really easy. You can go on right now and sign up. ChatGPT, you have to pay a little bit. I think it's 3.5 is free. You should get your head around this. It's very impressive stuff. We know that the master plan over at Microsoft from the CEO, Satya Nadella, is to destroy Google. They are literally at a total arms race. They're trying to kill each other right now because it's winner take all. And if one of them loses, they'll lose their entire $1 trillion market cap. And the shareholders won't let that happen. We know recently that they had to overrule a risk assessment to launch Google Bard, as in this is dangerous what they're doing. Again, look at the criminal AI. When you start attaching these AIs to the live internet, imagine what it can do to nuclear power plants, to sanitation plants, to contaminating water, food, air traffic controlling. Don't get me started with all the scenarios, but it's dangerous. The Google boss, Sundar Pichai, it's keeping him up at night. Apparently, he gave someone a tour recently of their brand new AI facility, and it was like a war bunker. Like for them, this is life or death. And Mo said that he's an amazing guy, lots of great ethics, a lot of great character. But quite frankly, folks, if he doesn't do this, they'll fire him and hire someone that will. So that our corporate structures are going to make this a do or die scenario, and we potentially lose. OpenAI's former safety researcher says there's a 10 to 20% chance that most humans are dead. How many people worry about that? Just raise your hand if you think we could all be eliminated. I'll be honest, when I first went into this back in March, I had some very dark nights. I won't lie. I've had less lately. I think it's because of the companies we're investing in. I feel like we're going to make a difference. But I mean, it's hard for me to wonder. I mean, I'm looking at everybody on the Zoom call right now, right? I'm looking at all of you right now, Danielle and Oscar and Robert and David and Michael and Lynn and MJ. But like in 3 years from now, when the machines have achieved artificial general intelligence, human level intelligence, and they've doubled that. So now they have an IQ, not of 160 like Einstein, but of 320. And then they've doubled that to 640 and maybe doubled that to over 1,000. I'm wondering what any of you will be useful for in a nice way, right? The computer now is 10 times smarter than you ever will. They can do everything you can do, faster, cheaper. And I just wonder, like, what are we going to be used for? Some people say we're going to make art for each other. Maybe. But I'm struggling to find out why they're going to keep us around. Is anybody also worried about that? Anybody? Okay. Also, if you look at the less intelligent beings on this earth, who are they? Right? The woolly mammoth was less intelligent, and the humans came in and we were super smart and we hunted them to extinction. Who else isn't as smart as us? The cows and the chickens. Anybody want to be a factory farm chicken these days? Right? We don't have a good track record for being the second less intelligent being. It's not like you being the second richest person on the earth or being the second smartest kid in the school. When you're the second most intelligent being on the planet, you usually have a lousy life. Does everyone agree with me? Right? And so again, it's the smartest that wins. And I'm just a little concerned about what we're going to be used for, or if we're going to have any powers. So I'm paying attention to this. I just won't lie. A couple other pieces. The leaders are calling for regulation, literally to prevent AI from destroying humanity. And on the same flip side, folks, we see massive investment going into this sector. Is that a coincidence? Of course not. The reason AI is so dangerous is because it can potentially cybercrime and shut down entire companies and maybe the world. It can potentially get a billion people unemployed, but it also could make a massive amount of money and it will change the world forever. So this company, Inflection AI, just got a 1.3 billion with a B investment, valuing the company at $4 billion. Massive, okay, massive. Another company, Mistral AI, just got a $100 million investment, but wait for it, folks. It's been around for a total of 28 days. Imagine starting a company and 28 days later, you get a $100 million check. This is what's happening on a regular basis now. NVIDIA, the chip maker that specializes in chips for AI, just crossed the $1 trillion mark. I think only about 7 or 8 companies in the world are worth more than $1 trillion. And of course, this recent study by McKinsey and Company talked about the economic potential of generative AI. Look at this here. Generative AI is going to create 2.6 trillion to 4.4 trillion annually, folks. By comparison, that's bigger than the GDP of my entire country here in the UK. And we're one of the 7 biggest countries in the world. It's not like we're small potatoes here. And if you actually apply it to software, it could be double that. This is bigger than anyone imagined even a few months ago. And if you look at the total value of AI on the right hand of this chart here, you're talking about $25 trillion. That's bigger than all the technology companies in the world combined, because AI is going to affect every single sector, from agriculture to manufacturing to Wall Street to law to healthcare, you name it, it's going to change it. It's going to change it. And guess what, folks? It's taking your white collar jobs first. Did that surprise? Raise your hand if that surprised you. That surprised anybody here, right? It did me. You'd think maybe it was going to be the taxi drivers. No, Iris, that didn't surprise you? You think the Uber drivers would go, or the people in the plants at Amazon? No, it's taken away the cushy jobs, the jobs your mom told you to be, right, Iris? Be a lawyer. Be a lawyer when you grow up. Now you're unemployed. ChatGPT can write a legal brief better than 90% of most lawyers, right? Be a computer programmer. When I went to MIT, all the smart kids were in computer science. I wasn't. That was the job of all jobs. Now ChatGPT can write computer code. So guess what, folks? This is turning everything on its head right now. Accenture is putting $3 billion into this sector. And this is what I want to talk about today. So we got FraudGPT here, positioned as a solution for cyber criminals. We can already see the traction that it has. it shows us the dangers of AI being in the hands of a small, powerful group of people. But I'm also going to show you what we're investing in, because our investment puts it back in the hands of the people. And I'm going to show you how that's actually going to get it developed faster than that. All right. Meanwhile, we are investing in companies behind the scenes. And a lot of people don't know this about us. They think I'm just another pretty face on YouTube, but we do a lot more than just put videos out. Right, MJ? You know what I'm talking about, right? Maybe not as pretty as I used to be. So we are currently investing over $3 million into 3 AI and metaverse deals this quarter. And actually the deal on Wednesday, we're going to invest more, and you'll get to see what that deal is if you get approved on that call. So we have skin in the game, folks. We're writing big checks, and I'm using my media platform to amplify their messages. And that's all because of this. This is London Real Ventures. It's the world's first media-powered investment firm. We created this over 2 years ago, and now we are writing checks and featuring CEOs and using our media platform to blow these companies up. And it's the hottest thing going right now in venture capital. We are seeing the best deals in the world right now, because I don't just give you money. I can connect you with 5 million customers. I can create a video that's going to be watched 100,000 times. I can get you future investments. I can get you the best hires of the best talent in the world. This is a better prospect than the traditional venture capital model. And we're taking this one all the way to the bank, folks. So all the members of my investment club, my plan is just to make them filthy rich with what we're going to do here. And so this is what we're doing. These are some of the companies we've already invested in. This is Orange Comet. They are actually building metaverse experiences for all the top Hollywood franchises and Hollywood actors in the whole space. This is Dave Broom. He's a 25-year Hollywood veteran, one of the best in the business out there, has done documentary movies with J-Lo, has done, he did the first reality show with Sylvester Stallone on Netflix, and now he's doing amazing things. We cut him a $500,000 check. I'll tell you more about Dave later. This is Eric Poulier of Atom. They are creating metaverses for the Fortune 500 companies. Some of the biggest companies in the world, from Google to Slack to Frito-Lay, they're doing the metaverses for them. This is another company we're investing in right now called Open. It's the hottest brand new Web3 super app. It's what happens when Amazon meets WhatsApp. It's for artists and creators. We're actually closing this right now. This is the $1 billion fund we're investing in, which is the infrastructure of the future of the blockchain, metaverse, and AI. We're also investing in what we call the Open AI killer. And that's the deal that we're closing very, very soon, that we believe will change the future of artificial intelligence. I'll show you more about that deal later. And of course, we have this really exciting call that's happening on Wednesday. You can go to londonreal.tv/to apply. And it's this incredible kind of, like I said, a perfect storm of investing that we want to pass on to just a small group of people here at London Real that we're really excited about. So we're seeing deals, folks. We're writing checks. We're on the cutting edge of artificial intelligence investment ourselves. And this is what our thesis is, folks. How many people believe this? The greatest way to predict the future is to create it. Raise your hands if you believe that. Anybody here? Come on, this is what we're talking about, right? Right? They say hope is not a strategy. You need to create this future. That's how you predict it. And that's what we're doing right here, folks. We're making it happen right in front of your eyes, and we couldn't be more excited. And again, what is your why? This is our mission statement. It's on the back wall right here in the back at London Real Studios here in London. And it says this quite simply: our mission is to create a mass scale transformation of humanity into a fully empowered, conscious, and cooperative species. I had a bunch of people here reach out to me and Martini that want to join our investment club. They're asking questions about how we invest. And I say, look, it's simple. I don't invest in oil companies. I don't invest in tobacco companies. I don't invest in alcohol companies. I don't invest in trillion-dollar technology monopolies. I invest in companies that have the same values as I do. I invest in companies that are looking out for the future of my family and my community. I invest in companies that empower freedom of speech, and financial freedom. Is anybody with me on this? Is anybody with me, right? I've spent my whole career here at London Real fighting for freedom of speech. We had to put everything on the line back in 2020 to make sure that we fought for freedom of speech. We almost lost everything, but it was important for us. And that's exactly what we're doing now. We're investing in the companies that are going to empower us as humans going forward, not empower the machines, and not empower the ultra wealthy, and not empower governments and NGOs to dominate us like they tried to do the last few years. And we fought back. But also, folks, this isn't just business for me. This is personal, because I got 2 little guys I'm looking out for, in addition to the rest of all you. and their future depends on it, right? I mean, this is literally their future. In 10 years, Caden's going to be 17. Damon's turning 16 next month, or 6 next month. He'll be 16. And they're going to be living in a completely different reality, one that no human being in 200,000 years has ever experienced, one that will literally be dominated by machines that are 10 times, 100 times, 1,000,000 times smarter than us. I'm very, very worried about their welfare. And so I work extra hard here to make sure that they have a future. Does anyone have someone like this in their life that you want to look out for? Raise your hands, right? And at the same time, you want to create the wealth as well, so you have opportunities. So everything is coming together for us, and this is really important. And yeah, the cat can come along as well. Fine, we'll save him too. So again, let's jump into what's happening. The FraudGPT just shows us, it's another indicator that we've got to be careful with this technology. In the wrong hands, it's going to destroy us, and it's gonna be a problem. And so again, the limitless AI for cybercrimes. Everybody is really concerned about this, and you can see what is happening. It's getting famous. It's on the dark web. Folks, this is the first iteration. You know, ChatGPT 3 came out about 2 years ago. It was impressive, but it was basic. ChatGPT 4 now can pass the bar exam, can pass a medical exam. It can write better prose than you. It can write better copy than you. It can write legal briefs better than any of your lawyers, and it can make better images than any artist in the world. Wait till the next version of it. And so I'm worried about future versions of this FraudGPT. So this is a wake-up call that we need to really start thinking about what we're doing here. So that's what this should be for everybody here. And again, at the same point, tons of money is going into this space. So $1 billion into Inflection, 100 million into Mistral AI. Salesforce is pumping 500 million into this space. And China's ByteDance just gobbled up $1 billion of chips because they want to make sure AI is across all of its entities. Folks, money is going into this sector now. Next year is too late. It's going to be too late because this is moving at an exponential rate. I worry about waking up every single day where we're going to have a major AI development, like one that removes 100 million jobs from the planet, one that accidentally destroys something. I'm really, really worried about this. We're going to wake up to at least 3 of these in the remainder of this year, in my opinion. So we've got to wake up because this is happening right now. I went back to Boston last year to take my daughter for a look at colleges, and I stopped by MIT. Now, I graduated 30 years ago in 1993 with a degree in mechanical engineering. And I took a bunch of classes at the Sloan School of Management because I got interested in finance. And so they let undergraduates take finance courses there. And I stopped by to see a bunch of my professors. They told me last year the AI productivity boom is coming because at MIT, they know everything before everybody else. Then I stopped by my fraternity house, 50 young men about to go into the world. And I said, hey guys, where are you going? You going to work on Wall Street like I did? You going to work for Google? You going to work for OpenAI? They said, no, no, no. We're going to work for AI startups. That's where the money is, and that's where the talent is. Follow the talent, folks. That's how we know what's going to happen here. All right. And then we see Goldman Sachs. It's already saying 300 million full-time jobs could be taken away by AI. All right. That's a huge number, 300 million. There's less than 300 million people working in America right now. You take those jobs away globally, you don't have a recession. You have an immediate depression. Then what happens? People are marching in the streets. You get riots, you get social unrest, you get governments, you get new parties. All this stuff, crazy stuff starts to happen. This could happen at any moment, folks, and it's probably going to get worse and worse and worse. This is Dr. Hugo de Garis. He spent his entire life predicting what's going to happen now. He's considered one of the greatest AI scientists in the world, and he wrote a book called The Artilect War about 15 years ago, talking about what's going to happen now. And he said this to me, he said, Brian, do we create our exterminators? How many people think that's what we're doing right now with AI? Raise your hand. We're creating our exterminators. Well, if we don't change the course of it, I would say, yes, we are. And I want you to listen to Hugo and just get his thoughts on this. Again, he's considered a very respected AI scientist. He spent a lot of time in China working with a bunch of the labs over there. And, you know, he's got his opinions on what he thinks happens. And I think it's important to listen to them. By the way, he'll be back in the studio in October for an in-person conversation. And I really like him a lot. This is what he had to say.
Do we build gods, or do we build our potential exterminators? I mean, I used to say, I'm going to die quietly in my bed, but my grandchildren will be caught up in this horrible conflict that I'm predicting is coming. But now I'm suddenly have question marks. God, I might even see it.
You say that the machines might just take us out in the back and...
Once it can start redesigning itself, you get an exponential explosion of intelligence. And then our fate as human beings depends on the machines. It's only a question of time before humanity is forced to choose between stopping development in artificial intelligence. I don't see that as realistic. Or we just accept the idea that sooner or later, we, as a human species, we become number two. The answer to that is, as I'm predicting, war.
Do you think China is behind the West right now for AI?
The potential of the Chinese is phenomenal. The Chinese, they've been the dominant power for not just centuries, but for millennia. The last 2 centuries or so, when they're economically dipped, that for them, given their 5,000-year history, is a glitch. It's a historical glitch. So deep down in the Chinese mentality is the push to get back, quote, where we belong.
So can you really isolate and stop the development of AI?
Personally, I feel it's inevitable. Do we build gods or do we build our potential exterminators? That's the issue. Should humanity build intellects?
What do you think of Professor Hugo? We like him. We believe he might be right on this. I think he has a pretty good insight on this. All right. And so he wrote this book called The Arlek War, where he predicts what's going to happen in the future is something called a giga death. That means 1 billion people dead. And he thinks we're going to separate into 2 different parties as humans, the cosmists and the Terrans. The cosmists are pro-AI. They're building AI. The Terrans are pro-human. They want to save humanity. They think humans are more important than just having a little bit of extra technology. And they basically form political parties and they start fighting it out. AI scientists get assassinated. It sounds like science fiction, but then it doesn't sound like science fiction. When Mo Gaudet of Google saw this, he's like, Brian, this scared me. I was like, really? He said, this scared me listening to him. He said, because I think he's not far off. So this is a reality. A lot of people are saying this, and I just want you to be aware about what some of these experts are doing. This is what I want you to pay attention today, because this is basically our investment thesis for artificial intelligence at London Real Ventures. And it could be yours if you want to make some money in this sector. This came out in Barron's recently, and it said Microsoft and Google want to dominate the AI economy, but open source models are a threat. Remember this, open source models are a threat. Now look at this. This is a memo that was leaked from Google a couple months ago, got a little press, and then it felt like it was buried. And it admitted, the Google person that admitted this, a senior AI person inside Google, admitted defeats when it comes to AI. This shocked me. Listen to what they said. And this is a direct quote from the memo. He said, look, at Google, we've done a lot of competition with ChatGPT, right? Looking over our shoulders. Who's going to win, Google or ChatGPT? The uncomfortable truth is that neither one of us are winning. And our lunch is being eaten by a third party. That third party is open source, and they're lapping us. This blew me away. Look further. Meta leaked their Llama model, their large language model, to the public a few months ago. All right. And what happened? A tremendous outpouring of innovation followed, with just days between major developments. Days, folks, between major developments. Because why? Now you've got potentially 8 billion people, a hive mind, developing on this technology. These people don't care if there's a bad press because Google AI did something stupid. They just want a new development, right? And what happened? Many of these ideas are coming from ordinary people. This is what the Google scientists said. And they said, finally, the barrier to entry has dropped from a massive organization, $10 billion, 10,000 scientists, down to one person, an evening, and a beefy laptop. That's the new competition. Raise your hand if that blows you away or surprises you a little bit, right? It surprised me a little, because I'm thinking, you know, these large language models are expensive. They take a lot of computing power. And I just assumed that we'd have a tough time against the trillion-dollar tech companies. Not true. And by the way, this has been proven in image generation. This is a graph on the bottom of 2 different image generators. One is DALL-E, which is ChatGPT's image generator, and one is Stable Diffusion, which is an open source image generator. Look at the date, August 24th of last year, the open source started creating faster and better content. And now it does a 4x difference with the open source. Can everybody see that? Open source is the way forward, folks. And guess what? That aligns perfectly with our hero, which is Dr. Ben Goertzel. He's the CEO and chief scientist of SingularityNet. This is a picture of him and me from 4 years ago when we interviewed him to talk about AI, because I was curious about AI 4 years ago. Brought him in the studio and sat down with him, and I learned a ton about AI. It was amazing. And folks, when he left about an hour later, I forgot everything he said, right? You know what I mean? Because it just wasn't that important, right? Guess what happened? ChatGPT happened in December, and I called him up and I said, Ben, we got to have you back on the show. And he said, Brian, guess what? My token is up 10x. SingularityNet, my blockchain-based artificial intelligence company, is now worth hundreds of millions more because everyone's jumping into AI. And I said, wow, that's amazing. You got to come on. And so Ben came back on and talked about the current state of AI. And I said, Ben, have your estimates of the future been advanced and what's going on? And so he basically talked about his predictions then and how they've changed up until now. And this is what Ben told me in January.
We are leaping into the great unknown, creating machines that are much smarter than us. This is either exciting or frightening or both, depending on your personality.
Will AI exterminate humanity?
Eliezer Yudkowsky, a decade or two ago, he said, the AI does not love you. The AI does not hate you, but it can use your atoms for something else. Actually, my view tends to be that AI is the greatest hope we have to save humanity from exterminating itself.
I don't think anyone in the world understands how this will be the most transformational time in human history.
I have a 5-year-old son, a 1-year-old daughter, and a 4-year-old granddaughter. By the time they're turned 18, the whole texture of human life and the nature of the world they grow up into is going to be incredibly different from the world that we see now. Like, they're never going to have to get jobs. On the whole, I'm an optimist. I have a spiritual or intuitive feeling that things are going to come out awesomely in the next 10 years. We're going to overcome material scarcity. We're going to create machines that can feed into our brains via brain-computer interfacing and help uplift human consciousness. And we're going to port into virtual worlds and achieve like states of intelligence and awareness going way beyond anything we can imagine now. So that's what the Captain Kirk in my head thinks. We're on the verge of engineered utopia. It's incredible. It's a remarkably weird and fortuitous thing to be living at such a time.
All right, what do we think of Ben? We feeling his energy? Yeah, Ben's got a great vision of the future. He's definitely concerned, but he's also optimistic. And we really like the way he thinks about things. And so after that interview was amazing, I said to Ben, look, would you like to be our artificial intelligence advisor for London Real Ventures and tell us the deals to invest in and what should we do? And he said, Brian, he's like, I got something I'm working on. Give me a week or two. And so he came back a week or two and he said, Brian, I want to get you on a Zoom call because I want to introduce you to someone. And I was like, okay, talk to me. What's going on? And so he introduced me to this woman. This is Janet Adams, and she's the chief operating officer of SingularityNet and has been working with him for 5-6 years. She is former in the banking industry. She's sharp as a tack, and she is going to be the co-CEO of their brand new venture called Zarka, which is their answer to ChatGPT. Except there's one catch. They believe they've already won because they've been working on something called AGI for the past decade. That's artificial general intelligence. Right now, OpenAI is narrow AI. All it does is predict the next word. It does a great job, but it just predicts the next word. It's not really thinking like a human. Does that make sense to everybody here? We probably played with ChatGPT and sometimes it just says crazy stuff. It makes things up that just isn't true. And so I met Janet on the call. I met her up with her in London at one of the meetups for SingularityNet. And I was so impressed with her vision that I decided to bring her on the show. I got her on the show literally a few days later. And she explained what they were up to at Zarka. And it really, I was kind of blown away by their vision. And so this is what Janet said as far as what their plans for at Zarka.
Artificial general intelligence is completely different to narrow AI. AGI is more purpose-driven. It's a watershed moment for humanity.
Tell me about Zarka. This is the project that will create the AGI. It's a supercharged, intelligent, neurosymbolic, large language model at massive scale. What is it?
Zarka is the accumulation of decades of research from teams containing the best artificial intelligence scientists in the world. We uniquely harness that expertise with our even more unique capabilities in neural symbolic techniques and the deeply advanced mathematics that Dr. Ben Goertzel, Dr. Matt Ickley, Dr. Alexei Potapov, and our top scientist, Sergei Shalyapin, have been working on for decades. We are building the most powerful large models ever invented.
With Zarka and SingularityNet and everything you've always done, it's always been about openness. It's always been about decentralization.
We'll be using blockchain technology to enable anybody to help train models. We're giving birth to a new species of sentient life in the universe. The actual greatest imperative is that they are used for good. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. Our goal, our mission is to eradicate inequalities.
When I look at the rest of the market now, I don't see any of those motivations because a corporation, by definition, is going to be motivated by money. You're the only project that even is thinking in any way, shape, or form about these.
We are going to transform what it means to be human on our planet. I foresee a future in which humans then evolve to a next level of being where we are actually conscious, where we feel our full joy engulfed in bliss and ecstasy of the joy of living, the joy of each other. I see a future of joy.
All right, how many people are feeling Janet Adams, right? She is the perfect counterbalance to someone like Ben, who, quite frankly, most of the AI scientists are, you know, heavy male on the spectrum energy. And we need someone like Janet to balance this out. And also to remind us that this needs to be open source. This needs to be available to the rest of the humanity. And so, look, I was immediately impressed with their vision. They've got an incredible team. And right away, we were just massively interested. And so this is what we believe is the future. And I'll explain more about what's going on with that later. I actually went to see Ben afterwards, and we're all in on this project. We're basically writing them $1 million check, and we believe it's the open AI killer. And we also believe that it's the way that we want AI to be developed in the future, to where it doesn't get in the hands of cyber criminals, again, cartels, or technology companies, whatever you want to call, or governments, the criminals out there. We believe that this is a way to keep it out of their hands. And so, needless to say, folks, 2023 is the year of AI. You know, you should know that by now. This is the time to create generational wealth. This will not be able to be done again. I think you can see that. That's obvious. This is moving at an exponential pace. Everything's happening this year. All the bets are being placed, and next year is just going to be too late for a variety of reasons. And so you probably got to ask yourself, where and how do we invest? That's what I ask myself every single day. Well, first of all, you got to find the hottest trend, and we think we found it. Clearly, it's artificial intelligence, but we believe it's an open sourced artificial intelligence. Even the Google engineers have told us this is where the innovation is going to come from. And we're really excited to do that. In order to do that, you need three things. I call it deal flow, deal flow, deal flow. Because if you don't know about the deal, you're going to miss every single opportunity out there. Does that make sense to everybody here? Because if I didn't know Ben Goertzel from 4 years ago, there's no way we would even know about Zarka, let alone have a chance to put $1 million into Zarka. And so I'm now going out and spending all of my time to connect with people to make sure that we're seeing the hottest deals on the planet. And so when I'm not busy broadcasting, when I'm not teaching in my academy, when I'm not here talking to you on the master classes, I am on the road to try to build the relationships that give us deal flow. And this is just me tripping around the world over the last couple of years. This is me in Dubai at GITEX, which is the largest technology conference in the world. in October. I'll be back there again in October. I'm hanging out with the biggest crypto influencers in the world, high-level senior members of the government, VCs, and some of our portfolio companies as well. From there, I'm off to Paris. I'm having private dinners with high-level venture capitalists and some of the hottest startups in the space. I'm doing media, recording documentary films, and also hanging out with some of our portfolio companies in the upper right-hand corner. That's Cross the Ages, kind of the hottest gaming company in blockchain right now, and Swissborg, which is the #1 crypto wealth manager in Europe, both of our investments. From there, I bounced back to London. I got to hang out with Yatsu of Animoca Brands. It's basically a $4 billion hedge fund that's investing in, over 400 gaming companies. Back at the conference, hanging out with more influencers. Then I'm back to Paris. I got to see Tim Draper, legendary Silicon Valley VC. On the bottom is Dan Tapiero, who's starting another $1 billion fund to invest in the blockchain. More influencers, more VC. And then I'm back out to Texas, where I got to hang out with Ben Goertzel, talk more about Zarka. And I got to meet William Shatner, one of my childhood heroes, of the Captain Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. And the reason I got to meet him is because Orange Comet, one of our portfolio companies, that's the guy at the top, David Broom, was on stage with Captain Kirk announcing his new digital collectible. And I took that amazing opportunity to hang out with Kirk and sent my dad the picture. And I also got to introduce Yatsu to Dave Broom, and Yat potentially, who knows, could invest in this company. And that means when we take Orange Comet public, hopefully next year, that we might see, the massive returns that we expect, 100, 200, 300, 400x return on our investment. And that means a $10,000 investment would be worth, say, $4 million. That's the kind of thing that we're looking to do here in this space. And so I'll continue moving around the world. I'm in Singapore in September. I'm back in Dubai in October to make sure that we can invest with the best. And that's what you need to do if you want to get in on this space. You have to invest with the best, because if you try to do this on your own, it's going to be nearly impossible. You're going to have to look at every single AI deal that's happening out there. And that's what we spend our time doing. This is just actually a small amount of the AI deals that are happening and some of the up and coming companies. You need to be able to evaluate each one separately and try to make sure you can make an intelligent choice, because there's a lot of garbage. There's a lot of nonsense, and there's a million ways to lose all your money in an AI investment. Does that make sense to everybody here? Right? Trust me. Everyone and their mother has an AI company. You want to stay away from 99.9% of them. And so on top of that, getting the right deal, you've got to understand the financial tools. Most people don't understand this. You have to have the right tools, or you could have the right investment and you won't make any money. And that's why we believe the following statement. We believe that early stage metaverse and artificial intelligence equity investment, it's the hottest opportunity out there. Why? You get to buy at super low valuations. You get to see the biggest gains, and you get to invest in the biggest dislocation of wealth in human history. Yes, I will agree it's high risk, but we believe it's even higher reward. And that's what we're doing right now. We're investing in seed funding, startup funding, and early growth funding of these early stage companies. That's what we're doing right now. And so what's an example of how this has worked? This is literally something that happened in the past that we're trying to recreate here. This is a story everybody knows. This is Mark Zuckerberg on the left, and he started Facebook. And it was invested in by Peter Thiel on the right. Peter Thiel turned $500,000 into over $1 billion when he invested. That's what he did. All right. Now in 2004, let me show you how he did it. He put $500,000 into Facebook via, wait for it, early stage equity private placement. That's what we do. At the time, it valued the company at $10 million. Is everybody with me here so far? Raise your hand. You with me? Pretty simple, right? Okay. What happened? 8 years later, Mark took the company public. He did the IPO. And now in 2012, anyone can buy shares. So now Danielle, you can buy shares. Mark Harris, Michael, Fabian, Carolyn, you can buy some shares. Dieter. Now is the time the public can buy shares, right? But guess what? You don't get to buy them at 10 million valuation. You got to pay 100 billion, because one thing they taught me on Wall Street is when you want a bunch of suckers, you go to the public, right? So we go call you up, Danielle. Guess what? You can get in a hot IPO, right? That's what we do. So whenever a Wall Street banker is trying to sell you something, be suspicious, all right? Because what happened? Well, Peter Thiel sold and made a 2,300x return on his investment. That's a 230,000% return. Has anyone here ever met anybody that made a 230,000% return on your investment? It's very, very rare. I worked for 15 years at the highest levels of international banking in New York City, in Chicago, here in London. I never met anybody that made a 230,000% return. And what happened when they sold the stock shares to people like Danielle and Carolyn and Robert? What happened to the price of the stock? Did it go up? No, it went down. All right. So Peter cashed out and you lost money when they sold it to the public. So what did we learn? Well, the wealthy invest in early stage deals, and a simple $10,000 investment would have made you $23 million. That's the kind of returns we're talking here. It's asymmetric returns. Even $1,000 would have made you 2.3 million. Anybody could have come up with $1,000 back then? Maybe. Anybody here could use $2.3 million right now? Raise your hands if you could. Yeah, not everybody. Some people didn't raise their hand. Dieter's like, nah, Brian, I'm good. Cindy's like, nah, more money, more problems. I'm good. Well, if you do want that kind of money, this is what we do. What's the other thing that we realized? The public markets are for suckers. We call them sheep, and sheep get slaughtered. All right. You go buy a share of Tesla right now or a share of Apple. You know, you're just buying it on the public markets. Someone like Peter Thiel has already made billions on that trade, and you are being used to cash them out. Is that clear? Is everybody clear what that's for? You're not going to make 1,000x. You're not going to make 100x. You're probably not going to make 10x. You might make 0x and lose your money. And this is the way it works. And by the way, it works the same in crypto. Anybody here on crypto? Raise your hand if you have any crypto here. Come on, a couple Bitcoin holders. I can see your faces. This happens in crypto. It's called a pre-sale token. This is what happens. The same thing. They sell tokens to the public for a fixed price before they go live on an exchange. This has been happening for years. All the crypto you own was sold at a pre-sale to someone else like a Peter Thiel before you ever bought it. I'm sorry to tell you the truth, folks. This is something nobody wants to tell you, but I'm going to tell you. Anybody know this blockchain? It's called Solana. Raise your hand if you know it. It's the 9th largest blockchain right out there now. It's big. Well, guess what? They had a pre-sale back in April 5th, 2018. They sold their tokens for 4 cents. 4 cents to a small group of early investors. If you read that red circle here, they raised $3.17 million. Not a lot of money. These companies don't need a lot of money in the beginning to keep going. They sold 79.3 million tokens. What happens? I mean, Solana's trading around $20 right now. So you would have made a 59,000% return on your money. Did anybody here buy them for 4 cents? Anybody here? No, of course not. You probably bought them for 200 when during the bull market, right? Because these things were at 200, by the way. And then you would have lost 90% of your money because you bought it when all the hype was happening and everybody was telling you to buy them and all the websites were telling you to buy them and the Twitter people and the Telegram. You didn't buy it for 4 cents because you don't know someone like me that was in on that deal. And that's the thing. You have to be in on the deal flow if you want to get these prices. Otherwise, you'll have no idea this was happening. Most of you have even no idea this is even happening, right? But there's a lot of people making a lot of money on these deals. And so you're probably asking yourself, how do you create generational wealth? You have to pull the trigger, folks. You can listen to this tonight. You can be enlightened. You can be like, oh, this is amazing. I'm going to do this, Brian. But unless you pull the trigger, you're going to be, telling your grandkids about this one day. I was on a masterclass with Brian Rose 10 years ago. You have to pull the trigger and invest if you want to be involved in one of these things. And that's what we do. All right. This is a snapshot of over 200 pitch decks that we've received here inside London Real Ventures. These are just some snapshots of these entire decks we get from CEOs that are pitching us their companies. We track every single deal in something called our deal flow monitor. You see the deal name, you see the blockchain it's on, you see if they're raising tokens or raising equity. You see how much money they're raising, 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million. You look at the valuations of the company, 50 million, 100 million. We track every single deal in here. This is Orange Comet. All right. One of the amazing companies we're working with some of the greatest people in the world. You saw they're doing the digital collectible for William Shatner, Sir Anthony Hopkins, Scottie Pippen, the Chicago Bulls, NFL, Walking Dead, the Fast and Furious movie franchise. The list goes on and on and on. They're doing incredible things right now. This is my interview with Dave Broom. It's been watched over 100,000 times. I met him in Texas. He said, Brian, that interview is blowing us up. It's getting us investors. It's getting us new clients. He's like, this is amazing. And this is why we see this deal flow, folks. But it happens across our whole portfolio. This is Swissborg. the #1 crypto wealth manager in Europe. They are literally building the bank of the future. We are going to use this platform to launch the sale of our shares and tokens in the future. We're literally building an empire here, folks. And this was our press release on our investment with Swissborg. And it goes on. This is Vadim, Eric Poulier. Like I said, they're developing metaverses for some of the biggest companies on the planet. I had an amazing interview with him that's now blowing up right there. And they couldn't be more pleased. Eric said, Eric, he was having dinner with the head of Cirque du Soleil in Vegas. Literally 2 days after this dropped. And he said, someone came up to their table and he said, usually everybody's asking for selfies with the Cirque du Soleil guy. And they said, hey, you're Eric. I saw you on London Real. And he said, Brian, I just want to let you know that people are recognizing me. So that's what we do. And that's how we see these deals. This is open. And this is Jason Ma on the left. He's a legend in the investing space in Silicon Valley and in the media space and the artist and creation space. And he's building Open, which is the hottest new Web3 super app. What happens when Amazon meets WhatsApp. And it's for artists and creators. And we're getting in on this deal. By the way, this deal closed a year ago. Big article in TechCrunch, 100 million valuation. They raised $28 million from the biggest names in the business, from Galaxy Digital to Animoca Brands to Warner Brothers Music, for God's sakes. And we're getting in on this deal because of our relationships. So literally they're getting us $500,000 of shares that I'm giving to my London Real family here. And they're getting in on one of the hottest deals that nobody else can get in on. This is what we're able to do. This is our $1 billion fund that we're investing in. This fund is just the best of the best. They're invested in all of the bricks and mortars, the picks and shovels of the blockchain industry. You name it, you've heard of them, they've invested in them, and we're now going to get to be a part of it because of my relationship with the founder. This is OpenAI. This is the OpenAI killer. This is, in my opinion, the hottest artificial intelligence project out there. And you know, this is Zarka. It's a supercharged, intelligent, neurosymbolic, large language model from SingularityNet at massive scale. Folks, you've seen the team. It's the sickest group of AI scientists in the world. And guess what? They don't want to work for OpenAI. They don't want to work for Google. They want to work for Dr. Ben Goertzel. They want to work for the guy with the vision. And they're all teaming up and they're building the greatest thing ever. Obviously, this is in response to ChatGPT. And they've recognized the problem with large language models. Folks, look at it. They have no ability to reason in complex world environments. They don't know when they're wrong. Raise your hand if you've caught ChatGPT hallucinating on you and making up nonsense. They do it all the time. Yeah, what happens when there's lives on the line? That's not so funny anymore, right? They simply memorize instead of thinking. Enter neurosymbolic AI. This is what Ben and his team has been working on for 10 years. This is why they believe they've already won, okay? Neurosymbolic can meta reason, okay? They can come up with logic and intelligence. And guess what? Look at the bottom circle. It escapes the monopoly of technology happening in Silicon Valley, all right? They're using smart contracts, open source, decentralization. They'll have proof of concept by the end of the year and then start shipping product by next year. They already have artificial general intelligence supremacy. And look, they're estimating about 55 billion in revenue. You put 100x multiple on that to be conservative, and it's a $5 trillion company. It's the biggest company in the world, folks. And this is a winner take all scenario in AI. And we're positioning ourselves to be a part of this company. And on top of that, they're good people and their ethics and vision align with mine. And if I have to put my children's fate in someone's hands, it's going to be these two, quite frankly. And so my question for you is this the next 1000x return investment? Does anybody here think it could be? Well, clearly we do. And that's why we're doing this. And so that's what we're doing, folks. This is London Real Ventures. Because of this world's first media-powered investment firm, we get the access to the deals. These are the deals. This is our quadruple threat. This is what we do. I produce an amazing interview with the CEO. I distribute it to 5 million people worldwide. I hook you up with a connection to everybody we know in the space. That's venture, that's crypto, that's non-crypto. I know Navy SEALs, I know mafia bosses, I know triathletes, I know world-class boxers, I know everybody. We can hook you up. And then we write you a big fat check on top of that. Nobody is doing this. And that's why we're getting access to these deals. And so now you should ask yourself this question. How do you learn how to invest? How do you learn, folks? Well, you've got to surround yourself with the best. I'm going to tell you something, then this is not going to be popular when I tell you this right now. You're not going to like this. You can listen to this presentation tonight. You can see it. You can be enlightened. You can be convinced. But you're not going to do this with your current peer group. You're just not, because your current peer group isn't the group that's going to take you to the promised land. That's why I believe in this quote. Read this and tell me if you agree. You are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Raise your hand. Do you agree with that? Right? That's what it's about, folks. Now, who are the 5 people you surround yourself with? Are any of them building the next billion-dollar company? Be honest. Are they doing a TED Talk next week? Be honest. Are they doing anything high performance in their life? Are they trying to create $20 million of wealth in the next 3 years for themselves? Does anybody have someone like that around them? No. Do you have 75 of those people around you right now? Raise your hand. I do. I do. Because they're in my investment club. And that's what we do. We surround ourselves with the best. And that's what I do in my personal life. That's why I took my daughter to Boston last year, because I wanted her to surround herself with the best. She was one of the smartest schools in her school in London, but she needed to be pushed. Now she's going to BU and she's surrounded with the best. It's challenging, but she's going to another level. Same with me. I was one of the smartest kids in my high school in San Diego. I got to MIT. I was one of the dumbest kids there. It was really hard. But by senior year, I was smoking them. I was getting A's and they were getting B's because they pushed me to the next level. And that's what we do. This is Marianne Bartels. She's one of our 75 members in our investment club. She's one of our founding members, right? She's a 35-year Wall Street veteran, chief investment officer of Merrill Lynch Bank of America. She's one of the smartest people I've ever met when it comes to finance. She knows stocks, bonds, interest rates, inflation. She knows what the Federal Reserve is going to do in America before they do it. For all I know, she tells them what to do. This is your new peer group. You get to hang out with Marianne on a weekly basis. Sometimes I just let her talk on the call. Watch me zip my lips. And she talks about the economy. It's amazing. And by the way, she's invested in Vadim. She's invested in Orange Comet. She's invested in Zarka. She's invested in Open. She wrote the first check in most of those deals. Why? Because she knows what she's doing, right? This ain't her first rodeo. She understands the value that we produce. But that's just one of the people. This is Andrew Haynes. He's our metaverse expert. This is the mansion he built in the sandbox alongside his NFT and digital collectible gallery. He goes to one of the top executive training schools in Switzerland and hangs out with some of the best AI scientists on the planet. This is your new peer group. He regularly gets on Zoom calls and walks people through digital land, metaverses, everything. This is Dr. Encore, all right? I recently hired him full-time as London Real Ventures. He was our founding member at Investment Club, one of our first members here. And he brought us the Orange Comet deal. He brought us the Vadim deal because we taught him how to do this in this space. I actually challenged him to start a YouTube channel and put up 10 videos. He did it and he kept going, one a day for a year. Now he's got hundreds of thousands of videos. The other day, someone offered him 6 figures, over $100,000 in tokens if he just advised a company, free tokens. He turned it down. He's got bigger things to do. This is your new peer group, folks. This is your new peer group. This is how you win, quite frankly. You surround yourself with people that are creating wealth, and you do it too. How many people agree with this statement? Your net worth is your network. Raise your hand. If your hands aren't up, you're missing the trick here, folks. This is what it's about. Surround yourself with people creating tens of millions of dollars of wealth and watch what happens to you. Surround yourself by a bunch of turkeys, right? Phoning it in and complaining and whining all the time. Guess what you're going to get? A whole lot of nothing. And if you don't change your current peer group, you're going to keep it there. I don't care how smart you are. I don't even care if you make money. If you say you won the lottery and got $1 million tomorrow, you keep hanging out with those losers, a year from now, you're going to be broke again. I'm sorry, that's just the truth. Your friends and family don't even want you to be wealthy. Imagine if you made $10 million, what would your friends and family do? First of all, they would probably discourage you the whole way. They wouldn't believe it. And when you made it, what would they say? Give me a loan, right? None of these people are going to help you. You need to find a new peer group if you want to make this happen. All right. That's just the truth, folks. You're going to have to do that. And this is our philosophy inside the investment club. You give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. I teach people how to fish. I'm going to teach you how to do all of this stuff. And that's why I created the investment club. Because in 2021, we invested in our first pre-sale token, Cross the Ages, which is now the hottest company in blockchain. And quite frankly, it scared the bejesus out of me. right? Now, I should know better. I studied finance at the MIT Sloan School of Management. I worked for 15 years at the highest levels of international finance, Wall Street, Chicago, and London. And I had never heard of any of this pre-sale token stuff. Quite frankly, it freaked me out. It happened really fast. All the agreements were crazy. And I thought, if I'm scared, none of you have any chance of learning this. No chance. And so I called up Martini. I said, Martini, we got to start teaching this now. And she said, Brian, we're a little bit busy right now with this crypto course. But she finally agreed, and we went ahead, and it's become the greatest thing we've ever created. And this is how it works. It's application only. We open up 10 spaces every quarter. That's it. We are completely oversubscribed and always are. I teach 6 modules. It's 3 months of coursework. It's a 12-month course, but wait for it. No one's ever left. No one's ever left. Because why would I want anyone to leave? We've taught you how to fish. You become an asset to this course, and we all make money the more we stay together. So far, no one's left. Every single week, we have a Zoom call with a top CEO in the business. They literally come and pitch. It's like Shark Tank live every week. I'm the shark. They come on, they pitch. I ask them hard questions. We put them through the ringer. And if they're still standing, then we consider investing in them. It's an amazing way for you to learn. And you can invest in the very first week. You get access to all our deal flow. You get a full bonus year of our Kings of DeFi, which is our advanced crypto program, so we can bring you up to speed on the blockchain. And the next live call is Thursday at 7:15 p.m. This is how we teach remotely to over 20 countries from around the world. We have an amazing group. And these are the modules. I teach these in real time, which means they're constantly changing based on the environment. I'm also constantly changing my wardrobe based on the environment. You know, you like these colors? I try to shake it up, but we don't miss calls. I'm there every single week because we got a lot of work to do here, and it's an exciting time. This is the syllabus. You can see module 1, what is a blockchain AI metaverse presale? I talk about the basics. Module 2 is what is a SAFT or a safe? Does anyone here know what a SAFT is? Raise your hand if you know what a SAFT is. One person, maybe 2. That's a shame. That's scandalous. It's a travesty that none of you know what a SAFT is. It really is. And I mean, I hate to say this, but it's a way that the system is going to keep you poor. Because a SAFT is a simple agreement for future tokens. A SAFE is a simple agreement for future equity. It's the only way that the rich get richer. And it's financial education at a base form. It's what the banks teach their wealthy clients. But you're never even going to hear about it because no one wants to teach you this. My Wall Street buddies hate the fact that I'm teaching you this, but I don't work there anymore, so I don't care. But you have to learn these things, folks. They look intimidating, but they're not. And once you understand the tools, you can create wealth. Deal flow part 1 is how we do due diligence on all these deals. We do team, traction, technology, tokenomics, terms and conditions, the 5 T's. Deal flow part 2 is how you find the deals. I teach you how to go to a conference, what to wear, what ticket to buy, what events to go to, how to source deals, how to connect with people. And you can walk away from those conferences with 10 or 15 deals. There's a way to do it, folks, and there's a wrong way to do it. And I'll show you exactly how to do it. Module 5 is how you nurture those deals to make sure they grow into something amazing. And module 6 is how we get the cash out and into our pocket, and potentially how we invest it back into more deals. This is our Telegram group. This is our Discord group. And this is the deal. We're oversubscribed. We've already got 5 confirmed spaces for this quarter. We've got 2 on hold. We got 3 spaces left. I think that's only 2 spaces left because Martini is literally on the phone 24/7. Like I said, everyone wants to get in on this. We're trying to find the right people with the right energy to get us to the next level. The investment to be a part of this group that could be for your entire life, that could connect you with some of the smartest people in the world and literally teach you how to do this the rest of your life, is $50,000. It will increase to $100,000 on our next course because 3 of my members said you should double the price. And I agree, we should. I recognize this is a significant investment. I know it is. But it's something with an unlimited financial return, and you have to consider that. This is also the greatest wealth creation event in human history right now. And by the way, our special investment opportunity in Zarka and Open is ending in days. By the way, this was our special investment opportunity on the last quarter, the last call 3 months ago. This is a SAFT agreement, by the way. It looks complicated, but it's not. You could have had this if you invested in the last course, but you didn't. You missed it. So you missed this. You could have made a 466% return in 1 day on your money. That means if you put $10,000 in this, you would have paid for the course in 1 day. I made my club $300,000 in one day. Okay. And this wasn't even a big deal. We had nothing to do this week. We were bored. We invested in it. It made some money. It'll make more money over time. We have a track record of success in this group, folks. This is Cross the Ages, the first company we invested in. One of the hottest upcoming metaverse blockchain gaming companies there is. You can see it's dominating the App Store. This is the CEO, Sammy Schlagu. I had him on the show. After we published our interview, they got a $12 million investment from Ubisoft, Animoca Brands. They're selling out $1 million of NFTs in 24 hours. This token's going to launch this year. We're expecting a 10x, and from there, it's going to go up. Again, we have a track record of success in this group. My pledge to my inner circle here in my investment club is to create $10 billion for them in the next 10 years. And watch me, we're going to do it. You can watch from the outside or you can be on the inside. It's up to you, but it's going to happen. And this is Jens. He's one of our founding members. He was on one of these calls a couple of weeks ago, and he watched a bunch of your faces and he wasn't impressed. And he called me up later. He said, Brian, these people don't get it. They don't know. They don't know what they're missing. I was like, Jens, don't worry about it. We're oversubscribed. We got 10 more people this quarter. We're going to have 10 next quarter. We're good. And he said, no, Brian, I worry they're going to miss this amazing opportunity. They don't understand what we're doing. And I said, okay, Jens, what do you want to do? He's like, I want them to know. So he recorded a video and he sent it to me and he insisted that I play this video for you. And so Jens is sending you this message. And this is what he says. Like I said, he's a founding member. He's invested in every single deal that we've done so far. And this is his message to you.
Why should you join the investment club? And the next obvious question is, can I afford to join the investment club? My name is Jens Krautscheid and I am an active investor in stocks and companies since age 14. And risking of stating the obvious, I'm German. Also, I am one of the founding members of the investment club. And I consider my decision to join the investment club as one of the best investment decisions I ever made and I ever will make. Why? We all had this pub talk, this talk at the dinner table where we complained about our hustle we have to do daily. We complained on the workload we have, and we try to top up each other who has more stress, who is more hustling. And then sooner or later someone says, well, if I would have been an early stage investor in PayPal, I would be so rich. Or if I would have been an early stage investor in Microsoft, I would be so rich. And this is nice. This is really nice. But let's be honest. If you would have had the chance back then, 1992, to invest in PayPal, would you have pulled the trigger? Would you have invested? Quite likely you wouldn't have, because you couldn't assess the situation. You couldn't value the situation enough. In the investment club, we get these offers on a daily basis. We get the next PayPals on our table. And then we have a team of 50 people, 60 people, of a growing community of people who will do these assessments. And they will say, do this, buy this, this is the way. And then we buy this. And the next question is, can you afford to join the investment club? And the question really should be, can you afford not to join the investment club? Times are getting tougher. AI is taking over. And in what company you want to invest? In which AI company do you want to invest? Do you want to invest in the ones who do the fridges? Or do you want to invest in an early stage Coca-Cola who uses the fridges? It's up to your decision. I tell you now, invest in the investment club and be part of our fabulous, wonderful group. My name is Jens Krautscheid and I wish you the best decisions of them all.
We feeling Jens? We liking this guy, right? Come on, we love Jens. He's amazing. The energy in this group is amazing. It's full of the most amazing people you'll ever meet in your life. It's the greatest community we've ever created. I'm grateful for it every single day. And we're going to take this thing all the way to the moon. I'm telling you, what you see now is nothing compared to where we're going. It really is nothing. We're going to have $1 billion under management in the next 3 years. We're taking this thing to the moon. So again, this is an incredible opportunity for you to get in on the ground floor of something that is just not available anywhere on the planet. And so last thoughts is this: it only takes one. This is a direct quote from Marianne Bartels on our very first call. And she said, Brian, it only takes one. And I said, what do you mean, Marianne? And she said, Brian, I know people who invested in Uber, who invested in Google. One investment changed their lives forever. It changed their children's lives. It changed their grandchildren's lives. That's how this stuff works when you're at early stage. And so I'll ask all of you right now, do you have one of these? If you don't, well, then what the hell are you doing, quite frankly? What are you doing? Final thoughts are this: don't let 2023 pass you by. This is it, folks. There's no more do-overs in AI. Learn early stage investing now because you're going to use it your entire lifetime. Liquid tokens and liquid equity have limited gains. Like I said, a Bitcoin, an Ethereum, a share of Tesla, a share of Apple are not going up 1,000x. Never happening. Okay? To do that, you have to invest in the early stage. You can learn from an active elite investors for just $50,000. Now, I had professors at MIT. They were really smart, but they were not investing in companies on a daily basis like us. You don't want to learn from podcasters or professors or from people that write books. You want to learn from people who are talking to everybody in the space, which I do on my show, and who are writing $1 million checks on a daily. That's us. You can learn from us. It's a significant investment. Yes, I understand and I agree, but it's got unlimited financial returns, unlimited. And you can start now because a few months ago, we created a payment plan. I didn't want to. Martini came to me. She said, Brian, we're missing high quality people because they want to invest in the companies and get on the course, but they can't do both in the same start. So for $10,000 a month for 5 months, you can do a payment plan and you can get in on the deals right now. Okay. Again, we want the best quality people that want to do this for the next 10 years. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care if you have a fancy degree. I want the right people to be alongside of us and take this to the next level. And again, you get the best deal flow in the world. And that's what this is all about, folks. And again, always remember what Warren Buffett said. He said, the best investment is to invest in yourself. I couldn't agree more. As much as I love Zarka, as much as I love Open, as much as I love these investments, it's going to get nothing in return compared to you investing in yourself. And that's what this course is. It's you taking you to the next level. Until you do that, I wouldn't invest in any of these companies. But once you get you to that level, then you can start shining from here. And so these are Martini details. If you're interested in this, this is a way where you can contact her to book a call. You can Facebook Messenger her. You can email. You can actually book a call with her. Martini is our gatekeeper for this entire program. You have to convince Martini that you belong in our investment club. If you can do that, you can get in. All right. Let me just say, whatever you do, please don't waste Martini's time. Okay. A couple of us did that once, and it only happened once. All right. She is working 24/7 to try to field all the calls coming from around the world for people that want to be in this program. And again, if you are going to book a call with her, make sure you are interested in joining the program now. Not that you want to talk about crypto or you're thinking about joining next year. We've heard all that before. Honestly, that's what poor people talk about. But if you really want to do this, book a call with Martini and make it happen and join us, because we're taking this all the way. And lastly, I would just say, find out what your why is. If you have a strong enough why, anyhow is possible. Do you really have things you care about? Do you care about yourself? Do you care about your family? Do you care about your community? Do you care about the future? If you really have a why that's important, you'll find a how to get this done. You'll find a way. But if you don't, then no how is possible. So if you don't really have a good reason to doing this, you'll never find a way. But if you do, you can find a way and you can make this happen. And this could be an entire new career for you. We've got about 10 people in my investment club that have literally transformed their entire careers, reinvented themselves into the blockchain, and using London Real Ventures and everything we're doing here, happening all the time. Encore just became a full-time member of London Real Ventures now. Full-time principal salaried employee. And now all he does is work for us. And he's crushing it. And so, folks, I'd love to go to some question and answer time. Was that helpful for anybody here? Did that teach you a little something about that space? You're going to take home something? I really hope so. We've got Martini here, so I want to just pass it over to her so she can answer any questions about how to get a hold of her. And then I'm going to come back and answer any questions. I'm going to go through the chat right now. So Martini, over to you.
Awesome. Yes, yes. Well, this has been an amazing start to the week. Just being with London Rails, back-to-back calls all day today. But one thing that I definitely love about these calls that we have here, Brian, is really talking about future forward and really thinking about setting up an amazing foundation for the future. And we definitely know that within 10 years, this world that we live in right now is going to be a world within 10 years that we can't even comprehend. So the question is, are you prepared for what's to come? And also taking a look at, have you prepared your family and generations after you for what's to come? Like Mo said, I'm not necessarily worried about the machines. I'm worried about what the humans are doing with the machines, right? And so we want to make sure that we are investing in and also taking part in things and projects and companies that are really going to support us in moving humanity forward and moving us forward. Brian, also thinking about forward movement and such, when I take a look at everyone who has joined in the investment club, it's not always about the money. It's not always about the Lamborghini or the fancy lifestyle or the flash or anything like that. It could be somebody who just wants that financial freedom to just sit by the beach and buy a bungalow and be able to work however they want to. There could be, there are a couple people who are like my grandmother, actually, who set up a really good foundation for me as her grandchild, right? There are certain opportunities that I have now because my grandmother was one who planted seeds years and years ago so that I could be able to live comfortably and do the things that I want to do, right? And so for you guys who are on this call right now, like some of the other members in the investment club, what is your why? What do you really want to accomplish in life? What legacy do you want to leave behind for your family? Who do you want to make sure that is set in the event that something were to happen to you or whatever? You want to make sure that you and your family are prepared for what's going on in the future. So like Brian said, if you are interested in joining us in the investment club and you are wanting to plant those seeds for a better financial future for yourself and for your loved ones, I definitely want to connect with you. So I went ahead and put some links inside of the chat there. For those of you who are looking into the investment club and you're interested, but you got a couple of other, you need a couple of more details. So I put the link for the investment club page in there for you to go ahead and take a look at the information page, see everything that's involved and included and how we can best support you on your journey. And then go ahead also and jot down a couple of notes as well as questions. And then when you're ready, go ahead and book a call with me. The link is inside the chat. Once again, as Brian said, I'm round the clock, right? So I want to make sure that I am speaking to people who are serious about joining us. Okay. I don't want, the casual talks. I don't want a catch up call. I don't want any of that. I really want to talk to people who are really serious about taking their future to the next level. So I do see also that we are spread out all throughout the land. So if you do not see a time that is available on my schedule, please go ahead and send me a message on Facebook just to let me know who you are, where you're from, and the best time to get a hold of you. And we'll definitely do our best to accommodate, to make sure that we connect. And then also there's always email, but Facebook is always the fastest way to get a hold of me. So guys, hopefully you were able to take some things, some important things away on this call today, but please don't let it end here. Okay, don't be one of those type of people that just want to soak up all the information and think that that is taking action. Absolutely not. So taking action is all about pulling the trigger, jumping in, and learning what you need to learn, as well as implementing and investing along the way. So we definitely want to support you, and we definitely believe in transformation as well as building wealth, true wealth for yourself and your family. And we're going to be with you every step of the way. So hopefully I can connect with you guys, and hopefully we'll see you on the inside. And also come to the emergency meeting, Brian. Be sure to mention that again, the emergency meeting on Wednesday, so that you guys can get a little taste of what it is that we do on the inside. All right, guys. So we'll see you on the inside soon. And back to you, Brian.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Martini. Give it up for Martini. She's always making things happen. And yeah, look, really looking forward to everybody being here. Thank you so much for the questions and the conversation. And again, you know, book a call with her if you're looking to take it to the next level. Some great comments here from Ulrich, and we got Iris that had a bunch of thoughts, and John. Some people concerned about the AI, looking into the AI, watching ChatGPT, concerned about the future, asking questions about investments, about how to be a part of this. Look, folks, this is the technology that will define our generation. And it's growing so fast that we can't even get our head around what exponential growth means. It's going to change everything that we've ever assumed to be what the human experience is like. And it's our chance to change that future. And that's why we want to be investing in companies like Zarka and in other companies that empower this. And we know blockchain is going to be a massive part of this going forward as well. So look, I hope you can find a way to be part of this team with us. I just want to thank you all for taking the time, and just tell you, like, if you've ever longed your whole life for a community of people that think like you, that challenge you, that you're excited just to jump on a Zoom call with, like, that's what we've created inside this investment club. Honestly, I think I found the community I was looking for my entire life. And these people are amazing. They have great energy. They literally want to change the world and do big things and create value for all these people around the world. And when you do things like that, wealth just flows towards you. And that's the best way to make money, is to add value to other people's lives, to do incredible things. And if you do that on a daily basis, the money just flows back. And that's what we're going to do here. And it's going to be an incredible time. So I hope we can find a way to see you on that next call. And again, show up on our emergency call on Wednesday if you'd like. It's a great opportunity to literally see exactly what we do. If you're interested in coming to that, go to londonreal.tv/apply and tell us like why you want to come and what you're about. And we're selecting just a few people to come on that call because, like I said, it's an investment opportunity live on the call. The CEO will be there and you'll get a look at a deal that's a very rare thing. So that's pretty exciting. Anyways, folks, want to say thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you inside that investment club for the live call. And until then, beware, be safe. All right. Take care. Bye.